Hey, what's up? My name is Tomas Stanton. I am the producing director of the Spoken Word series as well as the Behind the Word web series. What better way to kick off Behind the Word than for me to step in front of the camera, become transparent, become vulnerable, and give you a little insight into who I am as a spoken word artist. The other day I was driving and I saw this bumper sticker that read, "I write poetry because therapy is just way too expensive." 1. I wonder how normal it is to daydream about who would show up to your funeral. First of all, I would identify as a poet. Most recently, I became a stepfather, a lover of love, community organizer, an individual who wants to create an impact in the world. It's funny because whenever I read my bio or hear my bio being read, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Like, who wrote that? I definitely did not put in my bio that eggs give me really bad gas. That one of my biggest fears is having to go number 2 on a first date. Big misconception about writing poetry is that all poets just sit down and they write. That's not true. We draft, we revise, we revise, we revise, and then finally after a year or so, you produce the work that people think happened overnight. Lately, I've been riding around town with my seatbelt unbuckled. The other night, struggling to find rest, I took some NyQuil and 2 Benadryl, and I didn't bother reading the warning labels. I wonder if the universe is getting tired of me asking her to do my dirty work. One of my good friends and fellow poets, Matthew Cuban, once said, "Sometimes he wished the microphone was a shotgun, and he can pull the trigger back with the flick of his tongue." Well, sometimes I feel the same way. The real reason why I became a spoken word poet was I just wanted to be a better public speaker, but I got sucked in, and I can't imagine my life without poetry at this point. One of the platforms that I really am focusing on right now is masculinity. I dropped out of high school because there were riots and fights, and I just didn't like violence. And so it's just like tossing this idea of what it is to be a man and that I can't be afraid because I'm a man. And so I've held that really, really deep inside to my core. So right now, I'm unpacking that. I think as an artist, you make that available to the world so that you can make an impact in somebody else's lives. Sometimes I wish it was a live grenade and all I had to do was pull the pin. My grandfather always said wishing was for children and birthday candles, that real men who really desired something strapped up their boots and went out and got it. I've always danced around things I was fearful of too. Inside the classroom, I tell my students that courage is not the absence of fear, but instead looking fear into the eyes and pulling the trigger. Outside of the classroom, I seem to be getting a little bolder with every attempt. My students sometimes call me Papa Tomas. My proudest moments in regards to that are when I see the students that I'm so honored to work with do amazing things with spoken word. To be able to see these young minds just go from being so scared to even just get up and read a poem to just being explosive poets on the national level is just amazing to me. But I often wonder how different my life would be if I didn't drop out of high school. If I could go back and tell the high school version of me like it's gonna be okay, and really be that kind of like that big brother or that father figure that I kind of feel like I was always looking for. I have so much to be thankful for, but I'm so tired of always feeling like I'm running from something. And let's be honest, therapy is for crazy rich people, right? 3, I recently got health insurance, so I figured it couldn't hurt to maybe go speak to someone. On my first visit, they asked for my family history. Well, my father was always more of an urban legend than a dad. I hear he was a man of great potential if he had only learned how to face his demons while also passing a sobriety test. One night, in a drunken rage, my cousin Joey loaded up a .38 special and attempted to push his brains through the side of his temple. Miraculously, he survived. His brother Jimmy wasn't so lucky. The night he listened to his favorite song on repeat in a running car while locked in his garage. Apples don't fall far from their tree. 4. Inside of the classroom, I remind my students that they are powerful beyond measure. I ask them to unapologetically write their stories, to use a pen and paper to exercise their demons, that they can speak into the world what they want, to speak into the world what they want. Does it make me a hypocrite if I genuinely believe in my own teachings but don't follow my own instructions? 5, hurt people hurts people. My best friend tells me I'm one of the most loving people she has ever met, but until I learn how to love myself, I am tired of hurting the ones I love. So lately, I've been daydreaming about disappearing, riding around town with my seatbelt unbuckled, listening to my favorite song on repeat, looking for a garage to lock myself in. Sometimes I pray for a thunderstorm to come so I can sit in the pool and see if God was listening. I seem to be getting a little bolder with every attempt. I have so much to be thankful for, but I'm so tired of running. The other night I started writing a farewell note to 6. I tell my students to unapologetically share their stories. In a recent class of mine, one of those students read a poem aloud for the first time. Her shaking hands made it difficult for her to hold steady the notebook she kept her secrets locked in. She fought back tears as her peers snapped their fingers in support. That day, she was brave. That day, she was light. Afterwards, she thanked me. Told me that this class was better than any therapy she had ever gone to. I tell my students that they are powerful beyond measure, to use this microphone to exercise their demons, to speak into the world what they want, to speak into the world what you want. I am tired of running. That evening, when I arrived at home, I unbuckled my seatbelt, went into my apartment, and began to turn that farewell note I started writing into this poem.